Scriptures telling me that it's all done with. I've been changed, I've been changed. I'll be the first to say I was one of them, that we only live by grace and just have faith. I was taught to listen to what my pastor say. Only you should trust in him. He'll never lead you astray. But now that I know better, he don't even live according to the letters. They throw away the Holy Scriptures, telling me that it's all done with. I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. The truth has made me free. I've been changed. I am no longer deceived. I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. Now let's take something that is so simple. Something simple like the fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. It's written that his word don't change. Why do you lie and defy the Holy Scripture just to satisfy your desires? And now that I know better, he don't even live according to the letter. They throw away the Holy Scriptures, telling me I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. Ain't no going back to what I used to do. No, I've been changed. I'm a new man. I've been changed. I've been changed. Whatever y'all say, I will obey. I no longer listen to man. I test everything they say. Let the word of Yah be true, and let every man be a liar. I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. I've been changed. No more worshiping on a Sunday. I've been changed. No more Christmas, no more Easter. I've been changed. I keep His holy day. I've been changed. Yes, the chains, they've been broken. I've been changed. And this truth will be spoken. I've been changed. 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 Hey, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Y'all reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. Lifter of my head, yeah, you sustain me. Yeah, reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. Lifter of my head, yeah, you sustain me. Please have mercy upon me, oh yeah, I am weak. I am so weary. I watered my couch with my tears. My eye is consumed because of grief for so many years. Every day I throw my prayers up. I never did get an answer. Could it be that you are angry with me? I still praise you according to your righteousness. How excellent is thy name in all the earth. Now reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. It's around my head, yeah, you sustain me. Yeah, reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. It's around my head, yeah, you sustain me. You are my refuge in my times of trouble. You are the King, there's no other besides you. You are my redeemer from the ones I was sold to. And I am so grateful that we're the apple of your eye. And you are my rock, you are my fortress, you are my strength, and you are my deliverer. So how long shall we bear this oppression? I call on your name right now. Yeah, reveal yourself. Reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. It's around my head, yeah, you sustain me. Yeah, reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. It's around my head, yeah, you sustain me. Oh, reveal yourself to me. Can you please reveal yourself to me? Yeah, reveal yourself to me. Please reveal yourself to me. Reveal yourself to me. Oh, oh, yeah, reveal yourself to me. Yeah, reveal yourself to me, to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. It's around my head. Yeah, you sustain me. Yeah, reveal yourself to me. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory, my glory. Oh, yeah, reveal yourself. Show me the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. My head, God, you sustain me. Yeah, reveal yourself to me. Show me the way. Yeah, you are my shield, my glory. My head, God, you sustain me. To worship you, and I bow down on my knees. All praise to you. God raise my hand up high to worship you, and I bow down on my knees. All praise to you. I get so excited when I think of all the things you've done for me. Do as you will, you want done with me. Oh yeah, cause I'm tired of fighting. Sometimes it gets hard, I cannot do it alone. Cause I need you, yeah, on my side. You are the light up high to worship you. My all praise to you. All praise to you. Up high to worship you. Praise to you. I vow to be humble. Yeah, hearken to my sincere supplication. When I'm weak and when I stumble, you are always there to catch me when I fall. You are my rock and salvation. Only one that I can trust, you're my best friend. Whenever I'm in doubt, to you I'll give a shout. With hands held high, I'll be calling on your name. Yeah, I reign to worship you. Bow down, all praise to you. Up high to worship you. Yeah, I need you. I need you. Yeah, I need you. Yeah, I need you. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need you. I need you. Oh, I need you. I really need you. I need you. Yes, I need you. Oh, I need you. I really need you. I need you. I need you. Oh, I need you. I need you. Praise, bow down, praise you, high to worship you. Bow down to my knees. Oh, praise. I raise my hand up high to worship you. So I bow down on my knees. Oh, praise up high to worship you. Bow down, oh, praise.
Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual, however you may come. That was Brother Lorvins we were listening to from the album We the People. Shout outs to Brother Lorbins. I hope everything is going well with him over in Tampa. Um, and special thanks for him allowing us to play his music right here on this channel and just being a part of us and our friends. And we thank the Almighty for that. We have a great class tonight. Um, Brother Rodney is in the room. I'm gonna unmute his mic there. How you doing there? How you doing there, Brother Rodney?
Shalom, I'm doing well. How about yourself, sir?
Man, we're doing good. We're doing good. Everything is awesome. We're in the land of the living, and
Yes.
that's all that matters. We're in the land of the living, and we thank the Almighty for that. Thank you for allowing us to tap on you to read for us again tonight.
No problem.
Um, I do say I do have a reader that's with us every Sabbath, and Brother Michael, and he's probably in the chat room. So um, because I always have him read for me on the Sabbath, I'm gonna probably get him on a Friday night as well, and others. But I just want to thank you, Brother Rodney, because you're so familiar with the lesson. We're gonna go over some of the scriptures as a refresher. But of course, we always want to start off with prayer. So I want to ask you all there, thank you for all being in the chat room. We got quite a few that's jumped in already. Do me a favor, send this link to somebody, let people know that we're on right now. And of course, don't forget to hit the like button because that builds up the algorithms and that helps people get the message out as well. So let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus. We ask that you'll look upon us, look upon this lesson tonight, look upon all of Israel. So many of us are wakening up to whom we are and to your truth. And we ask that you just open up the minds and our understanding to your word, because there's so much to learn, so many false things that we have been taught, so many false things we've been have practiced. But nonetheless, you have shown your mercy on us through your Holy Spirit to give us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And we thank you. So we ask that as we go into this lesson tonight, we thank you for Brother Rodney being our reader tonight. We thank you for everyone in our chat room. We also thank you for those that we are praying for. And we're going to, that sister, you know who she is, Father, in our ministry that just came out of surgery this morning. Look upon her, look upon her family. We ask that as we go into the fast, that you'll put a healing on her body. We ask you these things. Look for our, we ask that you look upon our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. And we thank you for those that are bringing in all of the necessities that we need to get help to them. We thank you. These things we ask and pray. Amen. All right. Thank you, Brother Rodney. So we're going to get started on this lesson. So let me just start off by saying this. Last week, we covered the wilderness and what the wilderness was. Tonight, we're going to just do a few minutes of a recap, just short scriptures so you can understand where we're going into, because I don't want to go into what is going to happen in the wilderness during the tribulation. I want to go back and let you know that there is going to be a tribulation and we're going to have to get into the wilderness in a place of safety. But I want to bring you some more solidarity to that. So we're going to go to Brother Rodney. I just want to say hello to those in the chat room real quick.
Yes.
Kanaya Yazarala, how you doing? I know I'm not saying that right. Dr. Chucky of Las Vegas, son of Jossie Johnson,
Yes.
Johnson out of Arkansas. Okay, how you doing? Soraya Israel, Alandad, hello to you. And let me see, who else do we have here? We have, hi Kelly, how you doing? Hi Miss B, how you doing? Terrelyn Larkins, how you doing? Let me see, Miss Tahila, I'm not saying that right. She says, happy Pastor Johnson and my Israelite family, anticipating this lesson. Kanea says, I'm new also, but I love how the Most High has changed me. I thought we were the people when I was 17, but recently started worshiping in truth and in spirit. Brother Tobiah, how you doing? Lady J, how you doing? And then the list goes on and on. Brother Ronnie Wealth, how you doing? Sister Susan H, how are you? Um, Let me see. Brother Israel, how are you? Let me see. Alva Kelly, it's good to see you, my brother, in the chat room. The show YOLO, how you doing, Sister Yolanda? I want Sister, uh, the show YOLO, I want to do something with her because she is doing a great work. Um, she came into the truth. She has a very good channel. She's always giving out positive information. So you all go check her out. Susan H, how are you? Let me see. Let me keep going. Supermodel Society, how you doing, my sister? Let me see here. Let's keep going, keep going. And of course, Brother Mark P, Brother Philip, how you doing? Brother Kenneth and Andrea Cotton, how are you? And of course, the first person in the room tonight was Kanaya, Kenan Ya. I'm not going to even try to say it, but you know who you are. First person on the page tonight. And of course, Philip C. Sister Cleo came in. All right, let's get to this lesson. That's what we're going to do tonight. And Brother Rodney, we're going to start off by going, let me find out where I'm at. Now, again, I've got some, not that many scriptures, but I want to get into them and start reading them right away. So let me just lay the groundwork. There's going to be a wilderness. If you've been watching the news, and you'll see that the pieces are on the board. They're moving, they're shifting, okay? The Pope has just announced that he wants all the world leaders to come to Rome, I think May the 14th, 2020. You can find more information, not now, but on YouTube. It's out. It's also in the news. He's calling world leaders to come together so they can educate children. But then in his agenda, he wants all the children to be educated on one page. So you can see things are shifting. And then he asks specifically in the letter, or when he's writing this, he says, I want all of the great ones of the earth to come. But when you read that phrase that he wrote, I mean, you can't make this up. This is actually in the letter. And I'm going to do something next week during the week on this situation with what he has just put out and how he used certain words like the great one of the earth. It's right there in Revelation, that phrase. So things are moving. Things are moving. If you look at just the news and what's happening as far as the world powers, the how things are shifting, how the United States is really withdrawing their troops. Okay, Brother Rodney. Are you there, Brother Rodney?
Oh. Yes,
okay.
I am.
Okay, so that being said, let's go over to, I want to make sure I'm still on here. I want to check us out on YouTube because my screen at home froze, and I want to make sure I have not froze on the channel. I don't think that I have. I have. No, I think I'm there. So good. So I'm going to use the one on my phone to see where we all are at. Okay. And I think we're there. All right, Brother Rodney, our first scripture that we're going to go to, and I'm just getting set up here so that
Yeah,
I
did you
can
know that
see
behind America's
everybody
opioid epidemic lies a carefully
live.
planned?
I'm just getting set up. Okay, good. All right, so let's go to Matthew. We're going to go to Matthew, Brother Rodney. I'm going to go to Matthew, the 24th chapter, and I want you to pick it up from there, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Go to Matthew, the 24th chapter, and I want you to read verses 1 through 5. Matthew, the
Yes.
24th chapter, King James Version, everybody, 1 through 5. Let's go ahead, Brother Rodney.
Yes, sir. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to shew him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Okay, keep going and read just a little bit louder.
Okay, let me adjust my volume here a bit. As he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?
Stop right there, Brother Rodney. There's 3 questions they wanted to know. I'm just only recapping what we did last week. Tell us, when should these things be? And let me see here. When should these things be? And what should be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? These are the only 3 questions that the disciples wanted to know. Tell us, when should these things be? The sign of thy coming and the end of the world. Okay? So, Brother Rodney, I want you to skip down to verse number 14.
Yes.
Because, and 15, if you can read that right there in the blue. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
So we know right off, this is why we have this channel. This is why we have this platform. That's why so many other people do, because we're trying to get this gospel out to all nations. And the gospel is the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So that's what that is. That's the gospel. Okay, read verse 15.
Yes. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand.
Okay, so I'm going to come back in here for a minute. This is why I brought up the information I got regarding what's happening in the big meeting next year in Rome. He's asking all world leaders to come. There's going to be this great big convention. It's there. And like I said, I'll go into that. I'll bring up the video. I will probably show the video where the Vatican is speaking, asking everybody to come. They want to deal with the children and making sure that the children of the future, that they are together and also taking care of the earth. These are the platforms they're coming under, but there's so many other good things that they have dressed up to say these are the other issues that we're going to bring up. Now, when we say the abomination of the desolation stands in a holy place as spoken by the prophet Daniel, let's find out what the scripture says happens next. Skip down to verse number 21.
Yes.
You can go ahead and read that.
Yes, sir. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not.
Okay, because we know that what's going to happen this particular person or this system, this individual that's standing in forefront of this system that's going to be spoken by the prophet Daniel, when they stand in the holy place, by the way, is in Jerusalem. Okay, so when you see that happening, then there's going to be great tribulation. Okay, so a lot of people, I want you to know, you have not gone through a tribulation yet. You're not going through a tribulation now. Okay, I don't care if the stock market drops. It's not the first time the stock market has dropped. It's not the first time we've seen a recession. We've seen this stuff back in President Harry Truman's days. We saw that. Okay, we've already seen wars and rumors of wars. You got a conflict going on right now in Saudi Arabia and Iran, and half of their oil supply that only supplies 10% of the world. Why that's a big issue, I don't know, when they only supply 10%, but nonetheless, you got all this stuff going on. That's nothing to flip about, okay? If the stock market drops tomorrow, okay, you should always live prudently. You should always live where you always live, within your means, always have a reserve. That's just natural, okay? We experienced that back in 2010, okay? So none of this stuff. Remember jobs, you work 5 days a week, but they cut your hours and you only work 32 hours. It was called furlough days, okay? So we've been through that, and we may go through that again. But when you see the abomination of the desolation spoken by Daniel stand in the holy place, we read, then at that point, there's going to be great tribulation like you've never seen before, okay? You have never seen this. You never witnessed this. You've never even read about anything that's going to be likened to this. So this is what's important to know, okay? We just had a hurricane hit the Bahamas. It's horrible over there. But 10 years ago, there was one that hit down in South Florida, maybe 15 years ago. It was worse. It was horrible. It looked like a bomb went off, okay? But that's not the Great Tribulation. Fires in California, volcanoes in Hawaii, tsunami over in the Asian islands. None of that. You have not seen anything like this that's going to happen when you see the abomination of the desolation stand in the holy place. For there's going to be great tribulation, like you've never seen before. But the issue is that there's going to be somebody that we need to watch out for. So Brother Rodney, we're going to go to our next scripture reading in the book of Thessalonians, because I'm not going to read Daniel tonight because we read that last week. But I want to show you who the apostle who knew those scriptures, he gave us some instructions about this person too. Read the second chapter of Thessalonians, read verses 1 through 6. 1 through 6. Go ahead.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of Christ is at hand.
Okay, so what he's saying is, don't y'all be shaken in mind, troubled, spirit, nor by word, not even letter that comes from us, pertaining to the day of Christ when it is at hand. Keep going. Verse 3.
Yes, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except it come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Okay, so one of the things that you're going to have to realize that there's going to be a great falling away first. A great falling away from what? The truth.
Yes.
Okay, there's going to be a great falling away, and that man of perdition, that man of sin, is going to be revealed. And the reason why you're not going to know who it is, because you can look at a person and think that they are coming under the umbrella of the Most High God because of a religion that they're under. Okay, no. If that religion is going against the Most High, then that's a problem. That's an abomination. If the Most High says the seventh day is the Sabbath and they promoting the first day as the Sabbath, if the Most High says the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth and they trying to get you up in heaven, you have to look at what people are saying. They're saying the opposite of the word of God. The Most High says in Leviticus 11 chapter, here's a dietary law. But if there's a religion saying that you can eat anything you want, you need to know that is an abomination of the desolation. So let's go back over here, Brother Rodney, pick that back up where we started to read from. I believe we were in the 3rd verse. Listen to this. Read
Yes.
that again.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
And what does he do?
He who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
Okay,
For
so
that is what
opposeth means, let's look at one word at a time. He opposed himself against God. Oppose means the opposite. The opposite. The Most High says feast days and they got holidays. He's got holy days, but they got holidays. Christmas, Easter bunny rabbits laying eggs, but the Most High's got feast days. So he opposeth, and what else does he do?
exalted himself above all that is called God,
Okay.
or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Okay, so we just read that whenever you see the abomination of the desolation spoken by Daniel, stand in the holy place. So this person is going to, so that he, as God, he's going to sit in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So he's going to operate as if he's better than God, and everybody's going to worship him as if he is God. So we already know what's happening with that today. The only thing is they're not in the temple of God. Keep going.
Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things? And now ye know that withhold it, that he might be revealed in his time.
Okay, so he's going to be revealed. He's going to be revealed in his time. Now, somebody's going to say, well, what do you mean he's going to operate out of the temple of God, out of the holy place? Yes, the temple that he's going to operate out of is going to be right there in Jerusalem. This is why you got to look at the alliances that's taken place. Look at the alliance that the prime minister of Israel is doing, who's over the land now. Look at what the alliances that they're making with Rome. So when you look at all of that, you can say, oh, wow. So let's go to the scriptures, because the scriptures are going to tell you where this place is going to be at. So let's go here, Brother Rodney, to the book of Revelations, the 11th chapter, Revelations 11th chapter. And I want you to read just the first 3 verses, Revelations, the 11th chapter, verses 1 through 3. Go ahead and read.
Revelation 11, verse 1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
Okay, so John's given this vision, and so the temple of God is going to be measured where Jerusalem is. It's going to be measured. And so he told him, I want you to go and measure this. and them that worship therein. Read verse number 2.
But the court which is without the temple leave out, and
Okay,
measure
so
it not.
there's a court that's going to be outside of the temple. He says, I don't want you to measure that. Leave that part out. Why? Keep going.
And measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months.
Okay, so we know what that is. That's basically 42 months is where they're going to tread down and they're going to build their temple, because Zerubbabel during the millennium is going to measure the temple that Revelations is told to measure everything, but the court outside the temple, don't measure that, because we're going to let the Gentiles do what they got to do with that. In the city, they're going to tread upon for 42 months. Now, you all know 42 months is 3.5 years. Okay, so that's what's going to happen there. Now, the issue is when we get into this, we see that there's going to be an abomination of the desolation standing in the holy place, and we know that he's going to come after the saints. Okay, he's going to come after them. But we got to let you know what group of saints, okay? Because you got saints who are doing the Most High's will today, and we trust in him to a point that we do know that there's a wilderness, and when that tribulation comes, we're going to know to get there. So let's go into that so we can find out, and I can show you how the word tells you about the wilderness. So, brother Rodney, we're going to go to the very next chapter, Revelations, the 12th chapter. Remember that we brought up, let me go back over here and show you all, that this abomination of this temple that they're going to build, they're going to tread on it for 42 months. That's 3.5 years. So let's look at that. Let's keep that one in our minds, 3.5 years. Brother Rodney, go ahead and read chapter 12, verses 1 and 2.
Revelation 12, chapter 12, verses 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Stop right there. That is Israel. That's Israel. You can go read that. I think over in Genesis, the 36th chapter, it talks about Israel having the sun, the moon, and 12 stars. That's Israel. That is considered the woman. Israel is that woman. Israel is that woman. That woman is the church. That woman is the bride. That woman is whom is the bridegroom is going to be betrothed to and is going to marry. Okay, so the woman is Israel. We're going to when we enter into that marital covenant agreement through baptism, that's the start off phase of it. And when we enter into that blood agreement and we covered by the blood through baptism, when we do that, we are a part of that woman. That woman is his church. That woman is Israel, natural, spiritual, grafted. That's Israel. I'm going to show that to you in a minute. Okay, let's go back over here and keep going and read that. I wanted y'all to just know who the woman is. Okay, keep going. Verse 2.
And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered.
Okay, now this woman did something. This woman brought forth something. Read in verse 5.
And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne.
Now that is the Messiah. That's the Son of God. That's who was born. Now this woman is not Mary. This woman is not and I wanted to bring that out. That's why I wanted to bring this part in, because Israel brought forth the Messiah. The mother is who he came through. But remember, Moses says there will be one, a prophet like unto me that will come from you, meaning coming from Israel. Hear him, follow him, listen to him. So Moses said there was going to be a prophet, and he was talking about the Messiah.
Do I get something to eat? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there's Brother Rodney.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you back with us.
Yes. I'm not sure what happened.
I'm not for sure what happened either, but we back. We back online, brother.
All right.
Okay. Now let me just make sure that we're still here on the channel. Yes, we are. Okay. All right. Cleo says we froze. Kanaya says we froze. Y'all let me know if we back, if you see us or not.
I can see you.
How you doing, Sister Martha? She came into the room. Jay Ponce. Yes, you're right. Let me know if y'all still see us. Brother Michael Brown's in the house. Okay, I just need to go get confirmation. Yes, somebody says yes, we back. Okay, so Brother Rodney, let's go back here to the book of Revelations. I want to just start back up because I don't know what part we left off at. However, in verse 1 and 2, there's a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed. This woman is Israel, clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. That's Israel. Yes. Okay. And then we read that she's being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. But we also read she brought forth a man child, who's to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was called up unto God and to his throne. Who's that? This is the Messiah. Okay. So Brother Rodney, picking this back up, skip down to verse number 14. Verse number 14.
Yes. And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent.
Stop right there. So when you read Revelations, you'll find out that this serpent, the devil, comes after the woman. He could not stop the Messiah. So now he's coming after the woman. But we read in Matthew, it told us when he's going to be coming. And we're now reading that the woman has a place of safety. We also read so far in the 11th chapter of Revelations that there's going to be a portion of Israel that the Gentiles are going to build a temple on, and they're going to tread upon it for 42 months. That's 3.5 years. But we just read that when that abomination of the desolation as spoken by Daniel comes after the church, because that's what he's going to do. He's going to come after the church. The woman is going to be protected for a time, times, and half a time. So let's go back and read that, Brother Rodney, in the book of Revelations. I want you to pick that up Let me pick it up right here.
Okay.
Read verse 13.
Yes.
Stop right there.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child.
Okay, so we know he didn't. He is persecuting Israel that brought forth the man child. Keep going.
And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and
That's a
times
year. A
and
time is
times
a year, and what?
and times
That's 2 more years. That's so times and time is 3 years.
and half a time
So that's 6 months. So that's 3.5 years.
from
So
the
that's
face
the
of the
same
serpent.
thing, brothers and sisters, as 42 months. I'm just going to bring that up here to you real quick. I'm going back over to the 11th chapter because the Gentiles is going to tread upon the holy city for 42 months. 42 months is the same thing as 3.5 years. Okay, let's go back over here to the 12th chapter. In the 12th chapter, verse 14, she's going to be given two wings when this abomination of the desolation comes after her. And listen to this. When she's going to be given wings of an eagle, this is not an airplane. Okay, I got to stop. I got to bring out. This is not an airplane. Okay, somebody said, "What do you mean it's not an airplane?" Let me show you something real quick. Let's go over to Exodus. I believe I want to go to the 23rd chapter. The 19th chapter. 19th chapter. 19th chapter. Let me go back here. I want to, because somebody might say, "Oh, that's an airplane. They're gonna put us on airplanes." Okay. Let me see if this is. Listen to this. Read this right here, Brother Rodney.
Yes.
In the 3rd month.
Yes. Exodus 19, verse 1.
Yes.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai.
Because we are following the same pattern, except this time we're not coming out of Egypt. Egypt represents bondage. Egypt represents sin. So we're going to be coming out of Egypt, but the same day we got to come into the wilderness of Sinai. Okay, keep going.
For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai.
Okay, so we already know right there. If you want to know where the wilderness is going to be, it's going to be in the peninsula of Sinai, or the Sinai Peninsula. That's where it's going to be at. Keep going.
And had pitched tent in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount.
Okay, so keep going.
And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say unto the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel.
Okay.
You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings. And brought
Okay,
you.
there you go. Eagle's wings. That means power. That means God did this with great power. Keep going.
And brought you unto myself.
And he brought you into himself. So that's what all of that means. So now therefore do what?
Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Let me go right there. Let me go back, Brother Rodney. Okay. You all stand by just for a second. There's something I have to check up on. You all give me 1 second here. I apologize, everyone. There's something I must do that would only take me a minute to do. But while I'm doing that, I want to go back to recant. So we talked about what we talked about is how the in the wilderness. And let me just do this real quick. We talked about the wilderness and how there's going to be 3.5 years. I want to bring up a times and a half a time. And the one reason, don't forget last week that we talked about this when we dealt with, I'm trying to think, let me see here. I apologize. Okay. All right. I apologize for that mishap there. Let me go back. Okay. So the reason why I wanted to bring up the 3.5 years, I want you to see that the wilderness is 3.5 years. It's no more than that. It's not going to be more than that. Okay. That's important to know because some people are saying the tribulation is only 3.5 years. Some people thinks that the tribulation is going to be 7 years. It's only 3.5. The abomination of the desolation, 11th chapter of Revelations. He's only going to be there and trotting down the holy city for 42 months. The woman is given a wings of an eagle, where she's going to be protected for a times, that's 3.5. That's 3.5 years. I wanted to bring up this part about the wings of an eagle, so nobody says, "Oh, that's they're going to put us on planes." It simply means through His power, He's going to do it. How He's going to do it, I don't know how He's going to do it. How did He do it for the children of Israel? I don't know. He just did it. How did He open up the Red Sea? He just did it. How did He close it up on Pharaoh's army? He just did it. You just have to trust the Most High. So let's go back over here, my brother. I want to go back over here to where we were reading from in Exodus. I wanted to bring out the fact that you can see that word, wings of an eagle. So how do you say, ye have seen what I did to who?
The Egyptians.
And what?
And how I bear you on eagle's wings.
And what did He do?
Brought you unto myself.
Where? That's my question. Where did he bring us to himself at? Right here. They came into the wilderness of Sinai. He's going to do that again. Now, what are we supposed to do in verse 5?
Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed,
If you don't obey his voice, forget about it. I'm telling you right now, forget about it. Don't even worry about the wilderness. Don't even worry about this lesson. Don't even worry about how you're going to get there. Don't even worry about if you have a passport. In fact, you're not going to even need a passport. He's going to make it happen. You don't need to force the Almighty's hand. He don't need no help. He don't need nothing.
Let him out.
But if you don't obey his voice indeed and keep going, and what else, Brother Rodney?
Now, therefore, yep, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Verse 6.
Yes, no, verse 5. They got to obey his voice and do what else?
And keep my covenant.
Okay.
Then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
Why?
All the earth is mine.
Okay, so I want to just stop there. We're going to go back. I want to go back to read that wings of an eagle so you can understand that when we say that in Revelations, you don't get like all what's the word I want to use? You want to get all revelationists and I mean reveal that to you. You can't reveal God's word. Just read for what it says. He's going to make it happen. Okay, so let's go back over here to verse 14. Read verse 14 again.
Exodus 19.
No, we're at Revelations 12 and 14.
Okay. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
Okay, so that's all you need to know about that. We already going to show that to you. That's not an airplane. That just simply means with great power. Keep going.
That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent.
Keep going.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Okay, this is no different than Pharaoh coming after the children of Israel. So when it says he's going to cast out of his mouth the waters of flood, whether that's an army, whatever that is, it don't matter. He's going to come after the woman that he may cause her to be carried away. But what's going to happen? In verse 16.
Yes. And the earth helped the woman.
Just like the earth helped the children of Israel when they left Egypt and went into the wilderness. The earth helped them. Keep going.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Okay, and then what's going to happen? Because this is when, after the serpent cannot get to the woman, who does he go after next? Look at verse 17.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Okay, so all we know is that, let me draw this up for you. So the serpent comes after the woman, and which is those that are Israel, the church that gets to the wilderness. Here's the issue. Not everybody is going to believe this. Not everybody is going to say, I'm going. When people see the abomination of the desolation, when you see that temple being built and erected, and you see Rome operating out of that, some people are not going to want to leave. Because remember, this individual is only going to be given 3.5 years. That's it. That's it. And they're going to do a lot of damage in 3.5 years. But some people are going to say, I'm not leaving my home. I'm not leaving my home. I'm not leaving my family. I'm not leaving my children. I'm not leaving. No. I understand what y'all teaching, but I'm not going. I'm not going. Okay? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why you're not going to go. Let me tell you why you're not going to go. Everybody was celebrating last month, 400 years anniversary of slavery. And let me tell you, nothing has changed, because the 400 years, I'm not saying it's not a dual prophecy. And I understand what that prophecy is a little bit more today, that 400 years coming out of slavery. In other words, a lot of people awakening up. But that happened back during the children of Israel. Somebody said, well, why do you say that, Pastor Johnson? Because when the children of Israel, when their 400 years was up, we just read what happened, how the Almighty just opened up stuff. He just did something. The Lord opened up the Red Sea. They moved out instantly. Ghana, Nigeria, all these countries said, y'all come back home. You can come back home. We'll give you dual prophecy, right? Dual, not dual prophecy. We'll give you dual citizenship right now. Just come right now. In fact, one of them said, I think it's in Ghana, they said, if you come now, you can buy land. Do you know how much land that you can actually buy? Do you know what kind of house that you can build for $50,000 in Ghana right now? A mansion. I'm talking about a 10-bedroom, 10-bath mansion. And none of y'all are saying, let me leave and go over to Africa. 400 years is up. It ain't time yet. But when this wilderness comes, don't play around with this. Do not play around with this wilderness. And some people are, as we just read in Revelations. So let's go back to this. Read it again for me, Brother Rodney, because after the earth, read verse 16.
And the earth helped the woman.
Okay.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
So where's the woman at? In the wilderness. That's where she's at. Look at verse 14. She's into her place. She's going to be there 3.5 years. Okay. But now, after he couldn't get to the woman because the earth helps the woman, what does the dragon do next, Brother Rodney, in verse 17?
And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
The remnant means the rest of everybody else. Those that did not believe, those that did not want to go, those that said, you know, the wilderness is spiritual. I'm not going to go. I don't think that's what it means. You can stay if you want to. I'm not taking no chances. But anyway, he goes to make war with the remnant of her seed, which did what?
Keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Okay, so let's look at the 13th chapter of Revelations, because let me tell you something. You're not going to be too happy what happens if you don't make it there. Listen to this. Let's start with verse, I want to skip down. Verse 7.
Revelation 13, verse 7.
Yes.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
No. I'm sorry. Let's go back up a little bit.
Okay.
We can't skip like that. Let's start right here. Verse number 2.
Yes. Revelation 13, verse 2.
Now, this is what Daniel saw. Because remember, Daniel saw, let's read this. I'm going to show it to you. Go ahead and read this.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power.
Now, this is the fourth beast that he saw. And who gave him his power?
The dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Okay, so Daniel saw this way over here in, remember a bear, a lion, and a what else? A leopard? There it is. A leopard, a bear, and a lion. So now he sees the fourth beast, which is a collection of all of them. Now, remember, we saw that in Daniel. I don't want to go back there too far, but I'm just want to just show you where Daniel already saw this. Okay. What did he see first? He saw what? Verse 3, Daniel 7 and 3. Read that.
Yes. Daniel 7, verse 3.
Okay.
And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another.
What's the first one?
The first one was like a lion.
What's the other one? In verse 5.
Verse 5, behold, another beast, second like to a bear.
Look at verse 6.
After I beheld this, and lo, another like a leopard.
Okay, so didn't we just read that in Revelations?
Yes.
Okay, but then what about the fourth beast in verse 7?
After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, the fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Now notice that Daniel does not even have an animal during his time that he can describe it, because the first one, which is Babylon, was like a lion. The second one was like a bear, who was the Medes and the Persians. The third was the Greeks, but this fourth beast, he couldn't even describe it. So let's go back to Revelations. Lion, bear, leopard, which we just read. Let's go over here to the 13th chapter. And we read, remember we said that he said he saw 10 horns, 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, start with the verse 13, chapter 1.
Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
That means out from the nations, among the people. Keep going.
Having 7 heads and
Stop
10
there,
horns.
7 heads. The first one, the lion, that's 1. The second one was the bear, that's 2. But then the leopard had 4, so that's 6 heads. And then the beast, the fourth beast is a head, that's had 7. And what else? What are they? What? And what else? How many horns?
7 and 10 horns.
Uh-huh.
And upon his horns 10 crowns.
Okay.
And upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
And what did the beast look like?
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Okay.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Okay, that we just read that in Daniel.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Okay. Now let's stop right there, because let's look about these 10 horns. Let's go back to Daniel, the 7th chapter. See, this is what you call line upon line, precept upon precept. And this is what these pastors be telling you, well, we don't read the Old Testament. Okay, let's find out what these 10 horns are. Because he tells you what the 10 horns are. And these beasts.
And these, verse 17?
I think it's where I want to go. Yes. Start with verse 17. We're at Daniel 7:17. Listen to this.
And these great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
Okay.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
So during the tribulation, don't worry about it, because we are going to possess the kingdom. They're going to have the kingdom for 3.5 years. I'm talking about the abomination of the desolation, but it don't matter. Okay. But Daniel, he saw something about this fourth beast that really bothered him. Read verse 19.
For then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet.
Okay. And what about the 10 horns?
And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up and before, whom 3 fell, even of that horn had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
And so that little horn, what is he going to do in verse 21?
And I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them.
And it prevails against them. So now let's go back to Revelations, because he's letting you know that he's going to prevail. He's going to do some stuff to the saints, because we just read, if you don't get to that wilderness and you're part of that remnant that he goes after the woman, listen, he is going to win. That's where people are going to get beheaded for Christ's sake. People, if you accept the mark, all of that, you're going to be done. Listen to this. Read verse 7. We're going to read Revelations 3 and verse 7, because Daniel said, we just read, he's going to prevail. Read verse number 7.
Yes. Revelation 13, verse 7.
Yeah, 13 and 7. But we just read in the 7th chapter of Daniel that he's going to make war and he was going to prevail. But Revelation is saying the same thing. Read this.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Keep going.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Everybody is going to start worshiping this beast. That's what's going to happen. I want to go back, because during this 3.5 years, it's going to be something, people. It's going to be something. Now I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into the wilderness, where we're going to be protected for 3.5 years. Don't worry about it. We good. We good. Just know that we're good. You know what? I wanted to show them something else, Brother Rodney. I want to go back to Daniel, because we talked about that 3.5 years that this individual, I think, let me go back over here, Daniel 7. How long is he going to be in? Read verse 25. Because Daniel wanted to know, we're at Daniel, the 7th chapter, just so we can show that this coexists with Revelation. Start reading from verse 23. Now, I want to let you know, after he makes war with them, the tribulation, those of us in the wilderness, we're going to be okay. But he's going to make war with the saints and prevail against them. How long? Until the Ancient of Days come. Okay? Now, when the Ancient of Days comes, that's the Messiah, judgment is going to be given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints will possess the kingdom. We're going to possess the kingdom. But this won't happen till after the tribulation, after the 3.5 years. Here's why, Brother Rodney. I want you to go back to Matthew, and I want you to read what happens after the tribulation. Matthew 24, and I want you to start with verse number 29.
Okay. Matthew 24, verse 29.
Okay.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Okay, so that's when he's going to come. I'm not going to go into the rest of it, but that's when he's going to come. Just keep reading that. Keep reading that.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and
what
they
are we
shall
going
see.
to see?
They shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
So if you think the tribulation has happened, it ain't happened, because immediately after the tribulation, the Son of Man is going to come in and appear in the clouds of heaven. So, but let's go back over to Daniel. Let's go back over to Daniel. And by the way, people, this is how you have to put line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. This is a prime example of that. Okay. So these great beasts are what? We had Daniel 7 and 17.
Okay. Let's see, yes. And these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
We read that. Now I want you to skip down, because we read about how this beast was going to have teeth of iron and all like that. We read this in verse 19, the fourth beast. He's diverse from everybody else. And he was going to have 10 horns on his head. Okay. And then we read in Revelation, it says that the four beasts are four kingdoms. But look at right here. We read that he's going to make war with the saints and prevail against them. That's what we just read over in Matthew. We read that in Revelations. Everybody's saying the same thing, people, until the Ancient of Days come. That's after the 3.5 years. But Daniel still wanted to know about this fourth beast. Read verse 23.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms.
There's only been four kingdoms, people. Babylon, the Medes and the Persians, the Greeks, and now Rome. That's the only ones that have ever ruled the whole earth. And Rome is running the earth today because everybody follows their doctrine, their religious doctrine. Keep going. The fourth beast, back over. The fourth.
Yes. The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
Okay. What about the 10 horns?
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
Okay.
And another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
Now we know that happened with the Roman Catholic government, and 3 of the kings were now taken down. That's a different story. Keep going.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
We read that. We read that what he's going to do. We read that in 2 Thessalonians. We read that, people. Keep going.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and to think to change times and laws.
And now he's done that already, but he hasn't done that operating out of the holy city that has been measured for the Gentiles. He hasn't done that yet. He hasn't. This is not the about. He's going to do it. Keep going.
And they shall be given into his hand until a time.
Until a what? Time, stop right there. It's going to be given into his hands for how long?
Until a time.
That's a year.
And times.
That's 2 years plus 1 is 3.
And the dividing of time.
That's 3.5 years. This cannot get any plainer. We're in Daniel. We're in Daniel. Look back over at Revelations where we've already read from. Okay? You cannot ignore this stuff, how everything is saying the same thing. There's going to be given unto him a mouth to speak great things, and blasphemies, and power is given unto him. For how long, Brother Rodney?
And let's see, great things of blasphemy, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
For 42 months. That's 3.5 years, people. But back over in the 12th chapter, during that time, the woman is going to be protected in verse 14. Where's she going to be at? Read verse 14.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time.
That's a year.
And times.
That's 3 years.
And half a time.
There you go. It don't get no better than this, people. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah, the 35th chapter. Isaiah, the 35th chapter. Isaiah 35. Isaiah 35. Let me see. Okay. Now, read this. Start at read verse 1 and 2, Brother Rodney. Isaiah.
Yes,
before you start reading that, do y'all notice that how we're going from scripture to scripture, book to book? What the so-called Old Testament and the New Testament, Old Testament, let's say that's what they call it, from Genesis to Malachi. We're reading and we're going back and forth. You have to do this. This is the only way to get to, and everybody is saying the same thing. But a lot of people say, my pastor told me don't read the Old Testament. We only read the New Testament. You can try that if you want to. I'm not trying that. Okay?
No.
Okay, let's go to Isaiah 35. Read this. Because now we're going to talk about the wilderness. Listen to this. Isaiah 35, read verse 1.
Yes, Isaiah 35, 1. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them.
Okay, the wilderness is going to be glad to receive the woman, the church. Keep going.
And the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose.
Wait a minute. A desert means, y'all know what a desert is. It's got nothing but sand and dunes and sand hills. But the desert is going to do what?
It shall blossom abundantly.
It's going to blossom abundantly. What else is it going to do?
And rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it.
That's the children of Israel. Keep going.
And the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. And they shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God.
Keep going. No, skip down to verse. Wait a minute. Keep going. Keep going.
Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the
weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Keep going.
Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense, and he shall come and save you.
He's going, listen, he's coming. He's going to save us. Then what's going to happen while people in the wilderness? Listen to this.
Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf. Yes.
Keep going.
Okay. And the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped.
Keep going.
Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out and streams in the desert.
So this is talking about everybody that's just, you're getting there, you're just weary, you don't know. It's like, don't worry about it. Look at the good things that's going to happen. Listen what's going to happen in the wilderness. Listen to verse number 7. Listen to this.
And the parched ground shall become a pool.
That dry ground is going to become a pool.
And the thirsty land springs of water.
Because there's going to be health in the water. Keep going.
In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes.
Now, some people say that's lizards. I don't know what it is, but it's not dragons like you see on TV. It's some reptile, probably. Keep going. Now, wait a minute. And you're going, and there should be what? Grass with reeds and rushes. But guess what? Keep going, Brother Rodney, in verse 8.
and the highway shall be there.
Wow,
And
there's going to be a highway there. Listen, you don't need to take a tractor. You don't need to take a dump truck. The children of Israel, when that sea opened up, they didn't have to use a pump. They didn't have to do anything. It just happened. There's going to be a highway there. And what else?
and a way. And it shall be called the way of holiness.
The way of anybody who just wants to come.
The way of holiness.
The way of anybody says, you know what, I'll just live the way I want to. And then when it's time, I'll follow you all to the wilderness. It's going to be the way of who?
Holiness.
Because you know what? Guess who can't go there? Keep reading.
The unclean shall not pass over it.
You're not going to even be able to pass over it.
But it shall be for those.
Let me tune in real quick. You see, some people think that they can circumvent the Most High. You can't circumvent him. If you're not living right now, if you're not keeping his commandments, his feast days, his dietary law, his statutes and his judgments, forget about going to the wilderness. You can know where it's at, but there's going to be a highway there. And you're not going to even be able to go over it because the unclean cannot go there. So you can think you can sit back and laugh at me because I'm teaching the wilderness and say, you know what? When it's time to go, Pastor Johnson said it's going to be the abomination of the desolation. Well, I didn't say it. I'm only reading what the word says, by the way. But let me tell you something. The Bible talks about the prophetically what's going to happen during their time. People are going to be so upset with their pastors, they're going to be just grabbing them and beating them. Because they're going to say, why didn't you let us know about this? The scriptures talk about that, by the way. They're going to go into their holy place, and grab them out and like, what have you been teaching us, this Christmas and Easter bunny rabbit stuff? We've been listening to you. Some of it is your fault if you don't read, because it says in Isaiah 34:16, read. Revelations 1 and 3, blessed is he that readeth and understand the prophecy of this book. Study to show your self-approval. This is why I don't like doing no talking. I like reading. Speaking of which, let's get back to that, because I don't like it. You ain't going to put me in no position. Okay, so read verse 8 again. Read Isaiah 34 and 8. Read that again.
35 and 8.
35 and 8. I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. And the highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness.
Uh-huh.
The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those.
Who?
The wayfaring man, though fools shall not err therein.
You ain't gonna better err. You're not gonna even get there. Okay, so just get that. Just really understand that. Let's go over to Psalms 91, because while all of that tribulation is going on and we are into the wilderness, look at what happens to us in Psalms 91. Let me go back over to that. Psalms 91. I'm gonna come to the chat room in a minute, but this is why we have to do less talking, less debating, and get to the word. Psalms 91, read that, brother, verse 1.
Yes, Psalm 91:1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
That's the secret place, is the wilderness. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's where you're going to be at. Keep going.
And I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my
Because
God.
what's he going to do? In him will I what?
Trust.
Keep going.
Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler
Uh-huh.
and from the noisome pestilence.
Okay.
He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
So his truth is going to be his shield and buckler. That's his word. If you're not abiding by it now, you can't wait to the last minute, because his truth should be thy shield and thy buckler. Keep going.
Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night,
Uh-huh.
nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
Uh-huh. I think
Nor,
that's missiles, but that's just me, because that's how he's trying to explain it. Keep going.
nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
What are we going to see? Listen to this.
1,000 shall fall at thy side, and
'Cause that's what
10,000
this man's going to do. He's going to do a damage.
and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee.
Keep going.
For only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked.
And how's that going to happen? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be looking on our cell phones, watching what's going on outside of the wilderness. I don't know. He just says, only with thine eyes thou shalt behold and see the reward of the wicked. Keep going.
Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation.
Oh, I like that part. Keep going.
There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
Why?
For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways.
He's going to give his angels charge over us. This ain't the first time that he's given the angels charge over the children of Israel. He's always told them, listen, stick with the angels. Read verse 20, Exodus, the 23rd chapter. Read verse 20. Listen to this.
Exodus 23 and 20. Behold, I send an angel before thee.
To do what?
To keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared.
Okay, so this is how this ain't the first time the Most High has sent an angel, which is what he's going to do then. When we get to the wilderness, we don't have to worry about nothing coming in. When the abomination of the desolation sends a great flood after us, whatever that means, it don't matter. The earth is going to help us. And these angels are going to be around us and bring us into the place which he has prepared. Listen, I love this lesson. I love this lesson. Let's go over to Matthew. Let's go over to Matthew, my brother. I'm going to go back over to Matthew. The 24th chapter. Where are we? Matthew 24. So
Right.
this is beautiful how everything lines up.
Yes.
Start with verse number 29. Listen to this. Because this is after the tribulation.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
And we read this earlier. What's going to happen after the tribulation? Read verse 30.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
And read verse 31.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet.
So we're going to be getting into the Feast of Trumpets. This is why this is a segue, this whole lesson. Keep going. So there's going to be a sound, a great sound of a trumpet. What's going to happen?
And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
All the way to the other. Let's go back to Isaiah, my brother. I want to go to Isaiah. See, this is why we have to bounce around so everybody can see this. Isaiah. We're going to go to Isaiah. Let's do this in the, where are you, Isaiah? I think I want to go to the 27th chapter. Listen to this. Read verse 12.
Okay.
Isaiah 27, verse 12.
Isaiah 27, verse 12. And it shall come to pass in that day.
Whenever you see the word in that day, that's the future. Keep going.
that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel.
Keep going.
And it shall come to pass in that day.
In that day, listen to this, because we just read this in Matthew. Keep going.
That the great trumpet shall be blown, and that they shall come, which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts of the land of Egypt.
And what's going to happen?
And shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem.
Because when after that 3.5 years is up, we're going to be taken over in that same Jerusalem. Let's look at the 16th chapter of Isaiah. Just read verse number 1.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 16:1. Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness unto the mount of the daughter of Zion.
That's us. Listen to this. Verse number 7.
Verse 7.
Verse number 5. Verse 5.
All right. And in mercy shall the throne be established.
Okay.
And he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness.
Because that's he's going to meet us in the wilderness. And in the wilderness is where everything starts. Before you can go into the promised land, you must meet him in the wilderness. Remember in Exodus, the 19th chapter, he brought them into the wilderness and to himself. And what he did was he brought them to Mount Sinai, and Moses went up to the mountain to speak with the Most High. In the 20th chapter of Exodus, he came back down with the commandments. But remember, the children of Israel had did a lamb thing and they got in trouble. But what they were supposed to do is they said, all that the Lord say do, we would do in the wilderness. The children of Israel were supposed to go from the wilderness right into the promised land. And they did. They got right to the brink of the promised land. In Exodus, they sent over a person, a representative from each tribe. 12 people went over into the land flowing with milk and honey. And they came back and they said, man, look at all of these grapes, big clusters. And they said, but we saw giants in the land. We're likened to grasshoppers unto them. In other words, in their mind, that's how they saw themselves. But Joseph and Caleb said, wait a minute, we can possess the land, we can take it. But 10 people said no. So the Most High said, he was just so distraught. He let them wander in that same wilderness. He let them wander for 40 years. So instead of going from the wilderness directly into the promised land, where they were right there, they went around 40 years. And he killed everybody from the age of 20 years old and up. He killed them off. Age of 20. What is that? What is he telling you? At the age of 20, you should know better. You're no longer a teenager. Age of 20, you're responsible. 40 years later, besides Joshua and Caleb, the oldest person was 59 years old when they went into the wilderness. Everybody else was 59 years old and younger, because everybody else, 20, if you were 20, 40 years later, you would have been 60, but God killed you off. He just really, there's nothing I can do about that. So that's why he said he just killed them off. But now, what we're reading is that before you go into the promised land, there is a protocol, because Israel is a microcosm of the world. When Egypt represents sin and bondage. So now when you come out of this Egypt, because remember, we've been scattered all over the four corners of the earth. And there's also strangers that's going to come. Just like they came out of Egypt, strangers came. There's going to be strangers. There are some people who are not Egypt, they're not natural Israel. They're not natural Hebrews, but they're strangers. They're keeping the covenant of the Most High. They're going to come too. They're going to go right over there and they're going to say, wow, we're going right into the wilderness. And before we get into the promised land, that's what's going to happen. Now let's read this. Because I'm doing a lot of talking. I want to do some more reading.
Yes, sir.
Brother, go over to, let's go to Hosea. We're talking about what's going to happen in the wilderness tonight. Let's go to the prophet Hosea. You know, Brother Rodney, there's so many prophets that are talking about this.
Yes.
Hosea, the 2nd chapter, I want you to start with verse number 14. Verse 14. Listen to this.
Hosea 2 and 14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness.
Who is her? The woman.
Yes.
Who is the woman? The church. I will allure her and bring her where?
Into the wilderness.
Keep going.
And speak comfortably to her.
And what's he going to do?
And I will give her her vineyards from thence.
In other words, he's going to give us our lots and our lands. Keep going.
And the valley of Achor for a door of hope. And she shall sing there, as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt.
Keep going.
And it shall be at that day, saith
Remember,
the Lord.
when we say at that day, it means that's in the future. It should be at that day what?
Saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi.
Ooh, Ishi. Listen to this.
And shall no more call me Baali.
Uh-huh.
For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name.
Now let's say what this word Ishi means, husband.
Husband.
That's what Ishi means, husband. So they're going to say husband because that's where the marriage is going to take place before you get into the wilderness. Read verse number 19, verse number 19.
And I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies.
And all in their mercies. Now listen to this. This is what's going to happen. So this is what put line upon line, precept upon precept. I'm going to go back over to Revelations, the 19th chapter this time. Revelations, the 19th chapter. And I think I want to start this because remember what we just read, there's going to be a marriage, right? And there she's going to call me husband, the church, Israel, the woman, which is the church, which is the people, the saints. They're going to call him Ishi. Okay? So let's see how this rolls out, Brother Rodney, in the book of Revelations. Let's read Revelations, the 19th chapter. Start reading at verse number 7. Just a few verses here. Revelations 19, and we're going to read verses 7.
Starting at verse 7.
Yes.
Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come.
Oh, that's going to come. That's what's going to happen in the wilderness. Keep going.
And his wife hath made herself ready.
Who's his wife? That's the woman, the sun, the moon, the 11 stars. His wife that made her ready. Keep going.
And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
Oh, wow. Keep going.
And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God.
Oh, wow. Wow. This is awesome, brother. We cannot leave this without going to just one more prophet. Can we go to one more prophet?
No problem.
Just one more prophet. Jeremiah, the 31st chapter. Jeremiah, the prophet. Read this. Read this. Read verses 1 and 2. Jeremiah 31, read verses 1 and 2.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 1. And at the same time, saith the Lord, I will be the God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people.
Keep going.
Thus saith the Lord, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness.
They found grace where?
In the wilderness.
Oh, keep going.
Even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest.
Skip down to verse number 8, because he's going to bring us from everywhere. Listen to this.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame.
Didn't we read that over there? He's going to make the lame, everybody, the blind see, the lame walk, the man that is crippled, he's going to leap like a hart or like a deer. Keep going.
Yes. And the woman with child and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither.
That's us. Keep going.
And they shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of water in a straight way.
Because that's what he said. He's going to break the earth. He's going to make that parched land. It's going to just come up with pools of water. Keep going.
When they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn.
Keep going.
Hear the word of the Lord, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that gathereth Israel will gather him, and keep him, as a shepherd doth his flock.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes.
Thank you right there. Folk, that's our lesson. I don't know else how to put anything else there on it. I hope that you have gotten something positive from it. I really do. I'm going to look at the comments. I missed some of them because I'm looking on my phone now, but I'm going to look over in the chat room and see where we are. I know we're a little slow. Yeah, the timing of it is off, but let me see what it says here. Kenaya Keninya says, great lesson, Elder. Praises to the Most High. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Somebody wrote down Galatians 5:10. So we shall walks. Okay. Well, let me just say this. I want to thank all of you all for being here. We have quite a few here in the chat room, quite a few. And again, we just wanted to let this lesson be a blessing to you tonight, because this is really going to start kicking off the Feast of the Trumpets. It really is. I'm going to take the opportunity to really close out at this point because it's a good place to start off. I don't want to mess up a good meal. I don't want to mess up a good meal. Just bear with me for a few minutes, though. I want all of you all to hit the like button. Do that for me. We're not finished yet. Give me a few minutes. I want you to hit the like button. This is a lesson that it took me a while to be comfortable enough to teach. It's something that I understood a few years ago, but I was not comfortable in teaching it. In the event that questions came up, I wanted to be certain. So I asked myself questions that I think people will want to know. And this is why we were able to just go back and forth. We came from Revelations to Isaiah, to the book of Psalms, to Hosea, to Jeremiah, to the book of Daniel, Matthew, Revelations, of course. This thing goes on and on and on. And the point that I want to make to you is that you have to get yourself together now. You can't wait. We read that highway is only for the righteous. And if you saying, you know what, I'm living righteous and I'm going to take my husband, he's been living any kind of way, or my spouse, any kind of way that they wanted to, but I know to get to the wilderness and I'm going to bring them with me. Not going to happen. Because based upon my understanding from what I'm reading, everybody in that wilderness that makes it there is going to probably be in that first resurrection. Because he says it's the highway for the holy. And those that are there, their names are written in the book of life, or in the Lamb's book of life. So we know that pretty much if you make it to that wilderness, you're going to be in that first resurrection. And when you're in that first resurrection, you become spirit. You become a part of the rulers of the millennium, of the kingdom during the millennium, when the Messiah returns. If you don't make it to the wilderness, for whatever reason, you don't make it, you know that that dragon is going to come after the remnant of the woman's seed, those that keep the commandments and the testimonies of Christ. He's going to come after you. If you don't make it to that wilderness, it's not that you're not going to make it into the kingdom. It's just you're going to have to go through 3.5 years of tribulation. And the tribulation is going to happen. And we know when it's going to happen. So when somebody says, nobody knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man shall appear, that's true. But he also said in his word, I will reveal the secret things to the righteous. So what is it that we do know? We do know, according to the book of Matthew, Jesus was speaking, and he says, when you see the abomination stand in the holy places spoken by Daniel, we read in Revelation that they're going to have a temple, and where it's going to be right there in Jerusalem. We already read that he's only going to have 3.5 years to create havoc. But we also read in verse 29, Matthew the 24th chapter, immediately after the tribulation, he's going to be returning. But while we are in the wilderness, that is the marriage supper of the Lamb of God. And in order to get to the promised land, we must go through the wilderness. And we know that after the tribulation, the Messiah, when he returns, the slain of the Lord is going to be many. So this is what we do know. This is what we do know. This is what we can time. So you got time right now. You got time to change your life. You got time to lay down that pork and leave it alone, because Isaiah 66 says when he comes, he's going to come back with a fury, and he's going to deal with those that are eating swine's flesh and that have a righteousness unto themselves. So you got time right now, but I wouldn't waste time. Don't deal with that Christmas Santenaria stuff again. Santa Claus coming down the chimney eating pork, Easter bunny rabbits laying eggs, worshiping the sun. When the seventh day is the Sabbath, let me tell you, you need to make a strong turn right now. Somebody say, man, this sounds like an altar call. You call it whatever you want it. It's a plea. I'm doing my job. And that's all I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to use this platform to do what the Most High guided me to do. That's it. And that's all I'm doing. I'm telling you that you don't have much time to fool. This is real. Whenever you can read in the Bible and you can read prophecy in history, that means that Bible is a true book. It told us. You can look at world history. The first beast was Babylon. The second one was the Medes and the Persians. You can read that right in history. The third beast was the Greeks. Alexander lived a short time and the kingdom was divided in 4 ways. That's why the leper had 4 heads. You can read this all in history, all in world history. And you can read that the 4th beast, whoever defeats Greece, is the 4th beast, and that was Rome. And there are no other beasts coming up out of the earth. It's Rome. So whoever's there, whatever that system is, however it is what it is, people, we can't change it. And things are unfolding now. Bible prophecy, the trumpets are being sounded. That's why next week we're going to start getting into the Feast of Trumpets, because we're trying to get you prepared. That's it. You don't have much time. We're trying to get you. Is it going to be tomorrow? No. But how fast? I don't know. But I can see things are moving real quickly. Don't play with this. And I feel good because I know I'm going to get to that wilderness.
Amen.
My parents are deceased, so I don't have to say, hey, come on, let's go. But, they lived a righteous life. But if my mother told me, son, I can't get there, I don't know what I'm going to do, I will put my mother in a wheelchair and roll her there. That's what I'm doing. When it was time for Lot to leave out of Sodom and Gomorrah, he left out. He didn't wait, and they were told by the angel of God, said, do not turn back. Do not look back. Whatever you do, keep walking. So let me tell you something. I don't have a mansion, but I got a pretty nice home. I don't drive a new car, but I drive a pretty decent car. And I got a pretty good, I'm healthy. But let me tell you something. When it's time to get to the wilderness, nothing is going. I'm going. And we're going to know when to go there. And there's going to be a lot of people. I know a lot of people that understands this, and they're going. Because I don't want to be the remnant of the woman that the abomination of the desolation comes after. I'm getting to the wilderness. And there's going to be a highway there. And that highway is a highway for holiness. Those that are holy. There's going to be none that errs there. I want to get there, because we all are going to have to go through that wilderness. Even after the tribulation, even after the Most High sets up, everybody is going to have to go through that wilderness before you get there. The first group of people are only the holy, righteous people are going to get there. They're going to be protected for 3.5 years. I can show you in another lesson that all of Israel must go through that wilderness before they get to the promised land during the time of the millennium. So all of those nations that are left after Israel was trodden down and destroyed, according to Zechariah in the 14th chapter, everybody that goes into the promised land must go to the wilderness. But that's a different lesson at a different time later on. I just wanted to show you this wilderness during the first 3.5 years. There's only one wilderness, but this first group of people are the righteous, because there's a special highway for us. And more than likely, not more than likely, that group will definitely be in the first resurrection. I hope and pray that this lesson has been fruitful, educational, and informative for you. I hope that you grab something out of it. Please continue to support us, allow us to continue to make this channel, the Zoom, everything that we do happen. You can go to our Patreon account if you like to. And prayers is good also. Our Patreon is Pastor Johnson. I'm going to put that in the chat room. If you want to go there and just put that in, you can help us out each month to do the things that we're doing. Patreon.com. I think it's under Pastor Johnson. Okay, that's something you can do if you feel like that you're able to do it. The other thing is this. Um, I don't know. Okay, there it is. Yeah. Um, the other thing is this: pray for those that are in the Bahamas. Our congregation is going to be bringing stuff tomorrow. We brought some stuff last week. Going to be bringing stuff tomorrow. We do have a doctor, a medical doctor that was born in the Bahamas. Um, she's my personal doctor. She came to me, asked me to help because she wants to send things back to her people and to help the Bahamas. She's going to be making sure everything gets there. It's a trustworthy source that I'm confident that all the things that we get is going to get there. So we're got everything that's of personal goods and stuff like that, and so we're going to be taking that and continuing to buy little um, travel little packs of daily necessities, whether it's a toothbrush, toothpaste, all of that. Baby wipes, sanitary napkins, um, diapers, all of that, water. We're getting all of that over there to help out the people in the Bahamas. So that's what we're going to be doing. So thank you all for jumping in to our room tonight. Brother Rodney, thank you so much. Are you
Oh,
still
no
there?
problem. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Brother Rodney, for joining in with us tonight. We're going to say prayer and we're going to really end and get up out of here. Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for this lesson that you've given us. We thank you for the understanding. We thank you for Brother Rodney being our reader tonight. We thank you for those that are in the chat room. We thank you for all of those that are watching that were not able to be in the chat room, but they were watching. We thank you for those that support this platform and the things that we're doing to continue to let the gospel get out into the four corners of the earth. We thank you for those that give to Bethel, whether it's through Patreon or directly through Bethel. We thank you for their giving so we can continue to do what you have given us to do. And we thank you for bringing those out of the hospital through surgery. We ask that you continue to look upon our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. Continue to let your face shine upon us all. These things we ask. In the name of your precious son, Jesus. Amen. Thank
Amen.
you, brothers and sisters.
Amen.
Thank you, Brother Rodney. If y'all want to put in
Pastor,
some shout outs in there, Brother Rodney, anything you'd like to say before we leave?
it's just a couple of points. Yes,
Okay.
definitely. This message tonight was great. It was a blessing to me, and I know it was a blessing to many of us. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Yes, the Bahamas, what happened there is much worse than what we're dealing with here in Houston. But over the last 2 days, we pretty much got baptized and washed out.
Wow.
Um, there are a few towns that are underwater. I'm a member of Rebirth Houston, and several of our people were stranded in different places around the Metro Houston area. Um, I thank the Most High. Everyone made it home safely, and that all things are well with them.
Wow.
So please just remember us. I know I'm not sure how big of a story that's been around the country, but yeah, we took on a lot of water. And some places got more water than they did during Harvey.
Wow.
Um, Also, I just want to throw this in there, and I'm gonna get off because I was a reader, and that's what I did. I want to say that also, Pastor Johnson used Revelation 12:17. I used to do a lot of apologetics as a Christian, and I really don't do much of it as a Hebrew, but sometimes it comes up. Revelation 12 and 17 is a great point, because a lot of people who are Christians or what have you, they'll tell you it's all about grace or what have you. But it clearly says there that they kept the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
Most scripture, yeah, I read I read a lot of books, and I'm really studying those things. But truly, we have to be ready to go to the wilderness. We have to be ready to be in a position where we're holy before the Most High. And I just wanted to also say one more thing. When you mentioned the thing about being 20 years old, that
Hmm.
was a very big thing, because as I've been studying, one thing I found is that in the ancient Israelite societies, when you were at 20 years old, you were accountable for many things. You had to know how to defend
Wow.
your home. You had to be able to make a living. You had to be basically a man at that point. So I just wanted to add that bit in there, and I'm done.
Oh, my brother, thank you so much. And those are some very good points that you brought out. And and I appreciate that. And our prayers are certainly with you all over there in Texas, in the Houston area, and what you're going through. I did see a news flash on that. I just didn't know where it was at or when. But now you brought some understanding on that. So our prayers are with all of you in those areas that are impacted with this flooding that's going on. Um, so we'll continue to pray for you all as well. If there's
Thank you.
anything that we can do that you think that we need to do, let us know, because that's what we are. We are a congregation that tries to reach out and help those. Every first Sabbath of every month, we
Yes.
feed the poor. We give them food and clothing.
Yes.
We provide that for them the first Sabbath of every month. And so we dedicated these past couple of weeks to the Bahamas. But again, if there's anything that we can do for you all, let us know. And we will certainly be more than happy to do it. Because outside of knowing who we are and teaching the truth, we also believe, as the scripture says, when I was naked, you didn't clothe me, sick and in prison, you didn't visit me. So we try to make sure that we cover those angles as well.
Yes.
Um, so if you all are not able to do it, but you want to help us do it,
Yes.
we feed every Sabbath. We feed people every Sabbath, but specifically those that are homeless and in need. We give them breakfast and free clothing, shoes, everything. But you can help us if any of you all that are listening want to help. Go to our website. That's bethelhouseofgod.org. I'm going to put that inside here, and just hit the donate button, and you can go through PayPal, and you can leave whatever the Almighty puts on your hands, bethelhouseofgod.org, and you can just uh, do whatever the Almighty places on your heart to do. And we're very fiduciary in everything that comes in, because we just try to run the ministry. We only take up one offering, and I like that about our congregation. We're not an offering congregation, we're a teaching class, and that's what we are. And so, but if you want to, if you're not doing those things and you want to help, then you can help us, because you know that that's what we do every week and the first Sabbath of every month. And Brother Rodney, again, we hope and pray that if you all
Yes.
need anything, let us know so we can be a blessing and get things, whatever you all need, to you all,
I'll
or if you know of anybody that's
yes.
affected.
I'll pass the message along to our Moray, name we use for our pastor here at Houston Rebirth, and let him know that the offer is extended, and see what we may be doing in the community.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Bless you, my brother. All of you all, thank you for tuning in tonight. Next week, we're going to be starting the Feast of Trumpets. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time where we're going to be bringing forth our regular Sabbath message. Peace to all of you all, and happy Sabbath. Thank you, Brother Rodney.
Amen. No problem. Anytime.